Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Loreverse Live podcast. We're gonna talk about things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, fantasy, and action. It's your boy CV Hayes. And we got a nice little amount of topics that we're going to cover today. Please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you know when we post. I don't think the boys are hopping on today, which is fine because obviously, we still ride no matter what. But we are going to hit these topics today. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Marvel, DC, and Star Wars world. And today we are going to start with James Gunn because obviously last week we ended up talking about a bunch of rumors going on with the DCU. And I do want to talk about that for a second. And by the way, guys, I have a minor cold. So if I go on mute to sneeze real quick, just bear with me here. But I want to talk about James Gunn for a moment because James Gunn has been going crazy, bro. It's like every second when it comes to James Gunn, right? There's always, a debunking of rumors and stuff like that. And so what has happened is that James Gunn hopped on threads and debunked a lot of stuff, debunked almost everything that we talked about last week. And so I just want to say this while I'm here. I am not a journalist. I am not a credible source. I am not a leaker or insider. I am a broadcaster, which means any rumor, any news that comes out, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give my opinion. Me giving my opinion doesn't mean that it's true. If it's a rumor, nor does it mean I am insinuating it's true. I am not an insider. So, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a broadcaster. And so just want you guys to know, man, I'm giving my opinions on what I think is going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to get into what James Gunn debunked. And I think it's hilarious, honestly. Like, I made a joke on X. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just done covering Marvel, DC, I was like, I'm just done covering DC at this point because, like, I was like, bro, every time I try to cover something, James Gunn just debunks it, which I thought was freaking hilarious. But let's talk about what James Gunn has debunked in the last few days. So, first off, okay, James Gunn debunked, okay, Paradise Lost being shelved, okay? Now, I want to read exactly what Homeboy said. So let me pull up this image here so we can break down and so we can really break down Paradise Lost, how I feel about it, what my opinion is on it. So this is his exact words, okay? Someone commented, is it true that Paradise Lost has been shelved? He said, James Gunn said, definitely not. Jesus, I go on threads for the first time in weeks and it's just one insanely wrong thing after the other. What's going on? So James Gunn right there denies that Paradise Lost has not been shelved. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was the one project I wanted to be canceled, mostly because I think doing a Wonder Woman show without her in it, even if she is in it, I don't think it's smart. I think I love the way, and I hate using this as an example because please don't take me as being a Snyder bot. I can't stand the Snyder people. Please just trust me. But one thing that I did like is that Wonder Woman, when we first saw her, she was first, introduced in Batman vs Superman. And I think that Wonder Woman functions best like that with other characters. And so I always had this idea that she was going to pop up in Superman Man of Tomorrow, and then we'll see her expand as a character furthermore. But it looks like she's possibly either going to be in the show, but I'm pretty sure this is a show more so about the Amazons and all that stuff. I don't think this is a great idea, mostly because the DCU is still trying to find itself, it's still trying to find its ground. And so when you're trying to find your ground, I just don't think it's smart to go and do all these other, open-ended shows and projects. And that's just not my taste, is really not my thing. And I like when shows like Peacemaker came out and stuff like that, I just wasn't the biggest fan, and I want to see main characters, get put into RU and build around your main character. So I'm not the biggest fan of it, the same way I'm not the biggest fan of like a Jimmy Olsen show or stuff like that. And even when Marvel has done shows like this, I've never been a big fan, or even Star Wars. And look, maybe I'm a base fan, but I mean, I just like seeing big main characters. When I don't, I get annoyed. So that's one. But irregardless, he debunked this. This show is still going to be on, and it is what it is. And I've let it go. Okay, whatever. He's debunked this. Now, let's get to the next thing here. Now, James Gunn also talked about Batman. And pull up my my image here. And I feel like this was probably the most shocking for a lot of fans. Mostly, and honestly, I think a lot of fans were crashing out about maybe Batman the most, and mostly because Batman, I think, is probably the most loved character ever in DC history, which 99% of you would already, agree with. But whatever. But let's talk about this. So James Gunn shuts down rumors that DC Studios is waiting for Matt Reeves to complete the Batman trilogy before moving forward with the Brave and the Bold. So let's read the exact check. So this guy named Ryan Trejo, whatever his name is, he said, "Can you debunk Daniel RBK's report of you fast tracking the Batman trilogy for the DCU Batman?" James Gunn says this: "I don't know what that is, but I'm not fast tracking anything other than our scripts currently getting ready to go into production." The next person said, "Is it true that we're not getting Brave and the Bold until Matt Reeves finishes his trilogy?" And James Gunn said, "Nope." This is great news. Shout out to James Gunn. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of the answering. I like confirmed big announcements and rollouts, but I am happy that he is not looking at the Batman as like a beholden to him not putting out a Batman Brave and the Bold movie. I just put out a video on the Loreverse channel today talking about how the Demon trilogy will be the greatest trilogy to start with for Batman as well. But I think it is stupid for James Gunn to wait. I mean, I think it's the perfect time. Who cares about the Batman's going to make his own money? So I mean that's a slated $600 to $700 million movie right there. And depending on how popular it gets, that movie could possibly make even $1 billion at this point. So I think James Gunn is smart for not trying to use that as an excuse for him to wait. A part of his universe, a lot of it does rely on Batman himself. So, he is smart for not, trying to wait, because I thought that was stupid. So I am happy hearing this. The next thing, okay? The next thing here is James Gunn. He ended up confirming that Man of Tomorrow did not receive a title change. Now, he ended up talking about, now, this is crazy, okay? Variety, a reputable website, put out an article saying that Man of Tomorrow changed his name to Superman Man of Tomorrow. It is crazy that we have reputable websites that are running with insider news info and treating it like it's regular news. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that we're in that era. Like, I understand if I cover it because, I'm not a reputable source, but we have reputable news sites covering rumors. That's insane. Number one, my opinion, I think Superman Man of Tomorrow should be the name. I think Man of Tomorrow is a stupid title. I mean, why would you not put Superman Man of Tomorrow? I just think the regular fan, what I'm trying to learn, guys, is people are not that smart, and I promise you, people are gonna be like, "What's Man of Tomorrow? Never heard that before." It's like, bro, and it's gonna be called Superman 2 in general. So it's like, bro, like whatever. But another thing that he's debunked, and as I said, there were reputable news sources that came out with this freaking news. It's crazy. Like, okay, next topic here. Or next topic, but next debunker. Okay, so James Gunn also confirms that he did not use Panic in the Sky as influence for Man of Tomorrow. Okay, so this guy said, James, was Panic in the Sky was the Panic in the Sky storyline something you used as an influence on Man of Tomorrow? You've already confirmed the Brainiac Maxima has been heavily rumored. Panic in the Sky is post-crisis Superman's first time leading a bunch of heroes. I can't see that. Sounds like your Superman might be doing that in Man of Tomorrow. And he said, sorry, but really no. And then in an extended explanation, he did talk about how, he basically did a bunch of research on Brainiac and compiled a bunch of Brainiac stories kind of into one to figure out his Man of Tomorrow story. By the way, which is awesome. I love when people do something like that where you compile a bunch of stories together, because then you get different elements from each character into one, which I think is dope. So this is I don't know if this is good or bad news. I obviously think the Panic in the Sky storyline is cool because we get to see Superman leading. But if he doesn't use it, this means that he has obviously found something that's cooler. I do want other heroes to pop up. Like, I hope that we get John Stewart, and we're probably going to get Kara, and I want to see everybody that we've seen in DC kind of in this movie so far. So let's hope that's true. But all in all, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of the debunking. I think it's just pointless. Like, bro, just pop up with confirmed news that'll shut up everybody. I like the Kevin Feige method in general, where like we can just keep assuming, and then when the movie happens, it's like, oh, we were so wrong. But I understand what James Gunn does when he might feel like the rumors and stuff is like hurting the actual DCU, and it might be even because of the DCEU. You know what I mean? Just because the DCEU was such a trash bag that he might feel the need to like protect his stuff. So I don't know, but shout out to him, for debunking everything. And I'm happy that he is doing Brave and the Bold while the Batman 2 and 3 is happening. I think that's so smart. Hopefully the Batman ends after the Batman 2, so we can just focus on just Brave and the Bold, and not even entertain the idea of these two movies competing competing against each other. Because let's be real, if James Gunn gets Batman Brave and the Bold right, we will forget Robert Pattinson's Batman ever existed, and that's the sad part. But it's kind of the truth. Like, be honest, y'all. If we get a Batman movie with Damian Wayne Robin, the League of Shadows, the whole entire Bat family, do y'all really think we're going to remember Robert Pattinson's Batman, that noir crap? You know what I'm saying? The corny gadgets? Come on. I'm going to be honest. I could care less at this point. And I told you guys years ago, if Robin is not in the Batman 2, I will crash out. Because Robin is one of the most important characters ever. And for some reason, when it comes to Batman, the closest thing we got to Robin was in BVS when Bruce Wayne looked at that tortured suit from the Joker, and apparently that was Dick Grayson that died. And then the end of The Dark Knight Rises when that stupid cop was apparently going to become Robin or Nightwing. That was so dumb. You know what I mean? So thank gosh that we're actually getting something, new, and that we're actually going to get a comic accurate Robin, a young Robin that can fit in the fantastical world of Batman. I think that's so smart. So I can't wait to see that. Okay, now let's get to the next topic here, y'all. So let's talk about Sony. And this is really, really big news, too. A lot of big news today. So Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman confirms they will be rebooting the Spider-Man spin-off universe, and this is due to Kraven the Hunter flopping. Now, you guys know I hated the Venom movies. I think the Venom movies are terrible. Never was a fan of them. And my whole thing with villain-led films is they're villains for a reason. You cannot make a Spider-Man villain movie without Spider-Man. And so whenever I watch these SUMC, the Sony universe of Marvel characters movies, it always felt empty because Spider-Man wasn't in it. Like, think about this. Why is it that the Spider-Verse is successful? Because it's about freaking Spider-Man. Period, poo. You know what I mean? So that's that. Now, let's talk about this, okay? We need to go through everything that's happened. We get the Venom movies, right? The Venom movies generated, I'm pretty sure, over $1.8 billion successful. I got it. As much as I hate it, it made money. And I remember when John Campea, I remember when they did the math of all the Sony movies, and shockingly, the movies are actually profitable, which is insane. But, excuse me, we got Madam Web with Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson and Isabella Merced, 3 to 4 great actors that got wasted. That movie flopped. And mind you, I went to the theaters to see that. I put myself through the misery. Like, that's how you know I love y'all. I put myself through hell to watch that movie. I went and saw Kraven. Put myself through hell to watch Kraven. That movie was also really bad. I also went and watched Morbius. Another bad. And Morbius, low-key, I think it's probably the worst movie out of them all. More so because I can't stand Jared Leto's acting. I think he's one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure they use the same writers for I'm pretty sure they use the same writers for Madam Web and Morbius, actually, which is also embarrassing. Like, if you know these people wrote you a movie that bombed, you're going to bring them back to write you another movie? What? Doesn't make no sense. So that's that. And Sony has made so many bad decisions when it comes to the SUMC and their characters. The only good thing that they've done is the Spider-Verse. I don't even give Sony credit because it's due to those two co-directors that are basically the Russos of Sony, that actually made the Spider-Verse cohesive and work. And those are the same guys that are working on Spider-Noir. Now, what Rothman talked about was the fact that the focus is making the Spider-Verse stuff live action. So I do believe that Miles Morales will be the main live action Spider-Man of the Sony universe. I think that is very smart because look, you either have two options. Either you just share Spider-Man's whole rogues gallery in movie form and you just let Kevin Feige do what he wants in the MCU. Or you can have a situation where you can still offer Spider-Man's rogues gallery to the MCU, but you have a Miles Morales live action Spider-Man. So now you have two Spider-Man and you're making money off of both. And let's be honest, a live action Miles Morales Spider-Man is going to be $1 billion character. If not already $1 billion character. I don't know how much money the Spider-Verse movies have made yet, but I mean, Miles Morales was one of the biggest characters out right now. Do you think they will introduce a new Spider-Man if Tom Holland retired after the third movie? They would have to. The MCU is so cohesive that they would have to. But as I told you, I've said so many times, money talks. And the same way RDJ was kind of talking down the fact that he would never come back, they offered the man $100 million, bro. You can't turn down $100 million. And I think the same with Tom Holland. And let's be honest, like, Tom Holland outside of Marvel is nothing. Okay, so if Marvel offers him the money, he's going to take it. And Obviously, he has this Odyssey job that's going to get him a lot of Oscars and stuff, probably as a supporting actor. I still don't think he's nothing. I still think he's nothing without Marvel. So he's going to get his chance, But I think Marvel is his heart. Marvel is where he needs to be, and I think he's going to be Spider-Man until he's 90. I really think he's going to be Spider-Man forever, until he's old, until he's like in his 40s. That's what I think. And then after that, go the Ultimate Spider-Man route or do something like that, or just bring over Miles and make him the main MCU Spider-Man. Who knows? Maybe they might do a situation where we'll get both Miles and Peter Parker in the MCU. So then we have a trilogy with just Miles and Peter. Like I don't know. I don't know what can happen, but they might give us that too. And let's be honest. Hey, Miles Morales and Peter Parker Spider-Man movies trilogy, $1 billion every movie. First week, first 2 days. It would do Endgame numbers, bro. What? Brand new day. Trailer should be coming out next month. By the way, guys, can't wait for that. But that movie, oh, come on. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, they will have to recast, bro. Peter Parker is too big of a character for them to not, they're not gonna do like a Chadwick Boseman where they're gonna kill off the character. So I think he's gonna stay. Okay. Next topic here. Now let's talk about Mr. Loki. So Loki, this is a very interesting topic, and this really shocked me to my core. So Loki, okay, will reportedly have one scene in Avengers Doomsday. This to me is wild. Now, this is going to be a long yap session, so please just write your comments while I'm yapping about Loki for a second. So, Loki, one of the most important characters in Avengers Doomsday. We all know this. We go back to Loki season 1 and season 2. We know that Loki right now is basically the timekeeper. He's holding all of the timelines together. He's keeping everything together. And technically, he's holding all of the Earths together as well. And what is happening is that Loki is using his magic to hold it all together. But we all know that Loki holding everything together is a temporary situation. Now, I thought that Loki was going to have a bunch of powers now. Like, he'll be able to, like, excuse me. I believe Loki can definitely see what's going on. I believe that 100%. But the question that I have for someone like Loki is, like, why is it that we're only going to get one scene? Because a lot of people thought that we were going to see him reunite with Thor. A lot of people thought that we were going to see him maybe fight against Doctor Doom. A lot of people thought that we were going to see him build a multiverse Avengers. A lot of people thought that, if this scene is true, that Toby is going to battle freaking Deadpool and Wolverine or the X-Men to see whose Earth will survive. A lot of people had the assumption that, Loki would end up pulling that Toby Maguire out, right? And then, making him join Deadpool and Wolverine possibly with this multiverse Avengers. But now this changes everything because we're only going to get one scene of Loki. Now, let me just tell you what I think it is. If they do one scene of Loki, let's be honest. One scene of Loki has to mean that he's legit just going to do, he's probably going to die, okay? Dr. Doom's going to find him, he's going to cook him, and then that's it. If they do the whole Loki, Dr. Doom thing, and that's just my opinion, they might just be saving him for Dr. Doom to finally see him. And then Dr. Doom, he murks him, you know what I mean? To become the new, guy, to become the new multiversal god, to create Battle World, to take Loki's power. So that's what I think, man. Like, if he only gets one scene, it has to be that. And let's say Thor even dies, right? In Doomsday. I don't think which scene would you want more? Thor and Loki having a random reuniting scene, or Dr. Doom killing Loki to take control of the multiverse? Which one would y'all want? I want to go with that one. I'm going to go with Dr. Doom killing Loki to take control of the multiverse, because that's just way more important, in my opinion. So that's what I think, man. Like, I think it's kind of crazy. As I said, like, I think it's insane. But if that's the case, yeah, I just don't think that's the case, man. I don't think that's the case, man. I really think Tom Hiddleston has not a big role, not a crazy role, but I still think his role will play something. Like, there's no way you do 2 seasons of Loki to build him up to be like the center of the multiverse to give him one scene. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's the case. And if we know the Russos work, they are the king of payoffs, right? We've seen hella payoffs before in Endgame. There were so many payoffs. So I think he's going to get paid off again. And, I think that they're going to do something like that, but I do want you guys to let me know, like, let me know what you guys think about that, because if Loki has one scene, as I said, this changes everything. And it even makes me rethink just the whole entire Doomsday situation, because my assumption was that Loki was going to fill them in and give them all of the information on what happened when, like, in regards to, the whole entire situation with like the multiverse falling apart, because Loki would know. But if Loki's not the one to tell them, I don't want the TVA to be shoehorned once again into another plot. Because Loki, I'm getting sick and tired of the freaking TVA. I am. And I don't want to see the TVA again. So I hope that that's not the case, and that there's some type of multiversal force, if not Loki, to do this. Now, here's another situation. What if Loki has one scene because of Kang? What if Loki has one scene because He Who Remains is in this freaking movie? Because of Jonathan Majors is coming back. That's a far-fetched rumor. It's a far-fetched theory. But what if that's why? So what if He Who Remains gets a lot of the screen time that Loki was supposed to have because, he's like the master of the multiverse, It's a question. Could a variant of Kang fight against could a variant of Kang fight against Doctor Doom, and would that be a possible thing? That's the real question. I just don't freaking know. I don't know. So yeah, so I think it's very, very interesting that Loki would have one scene, and that would change a whole entire movie for me personally. I would kind of go crazy about that. Maybe in a bad way, maybe in a good way. But if we're getting so much already, like Iron Man coming back and stuff, maybe I might not care, So we'll see. Okay, now next topic here. Okay, so this is very interesting, and I think this is very innovative, and I love this. Okay, so Tombstone will reportedly play an overarching role in the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy, Brand New Day trilogy. Now, let's break down all this about this. So, actor and rapper Marvin Cronin Jones III has reportedly been cast as the live-action Tombstone. Interestingly, he previously voiced the same character in the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, Lonnie Lincoln, Tombstone, is expected to debut in Spider-Man Brand New Day as a powerful crime boss. Rumors suggest that he will fill the street-level power vacuum left by Kingpin, potentially serving as the overarching villain for the entire new trilogy. Now, let's break down some movie details as well. The film is currently slated for release July 1st, 2026. It is rumored to feature a gritty, grounded tone with other street-level characters like the Punisher and Daredevil potentially appearing. Now, if you guys don't know who Tombstone is, right, let me just break it down, right? In the Marvel Comics, Lonnie Lincoln is aka Tombstone is a New York mobster where he has this weird appearance, right? He's tall. He's like a hulking black dude who's like albino, giving him like a pale Tombstone-like appearance. He famously filed his teeth into sharp points to intimidate his enemies. Now, his powers. He is originally a non-powered but highly skilled street fighter. He did get superhuman abilities eventually. So his primary powers are like he's indestructible. His skin is bulletproof. He has superhuman strength, and he has enhanced reflexes. And he grew up in Harlem, complicated childhood. You know how that goes, he has relationships with people from the Daily Bugle and all that. So I think doing Tombstone is very interesting. Now, I do believe this, and this is what I 100% believe. I believe that Daredevil Born Again season 2 is going to end the beef between Daredevil and Kingpin. My thought was always going to be they were going to end the beef with Daredevil and Kingpin, and then Kingpin was going to shift to being one of the main villains in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But that doesn't seem like it. And when they announced that Tombstone casting, what came to my mind was, okay, if Kingpin is not the guy, this has to mean that someone else is going to be that thug and mob boss that is making things move behind the scenes, and it's Tombstone. And I think doing Tombstone is genius because, number one, you are expanding Spider-Man's rogues gallery, which I think every Spider-Man movie should be doing. Spider-Man has too many great villains for us to just use the same people over and over. So Tombstone expands his rogues gallery, but this also gives Tombstone the opportunity to become a very popular character. And this is giving me vibes that the MCU is back, because that's what the MCU is good at. Kevin Feige's biggest talents is making smaller characters feel really big. And what he can do with Tombstone is make Tombstone feel like the biggest mover and shaker of the mob boss ties in New York City for Spider-Man. And so even though Spider-Man, could beat him up, even though Spider-Man could, really cook him, it's going to make Tombstone comes off as a big, he could come off as a major, bigger than life situation because of his connection and who he is tied to. So then Spider-Man isn't just facing the man, he's facing the whole entire organization behind him, which could be the Hand, which could be a bunch of situations. So I think this is a genius idea to give Tombstone the chance to be possibly what Kingpin is viewed as, because Daredevil Kingpin is not who Kingpin is in the live action world to the casual fan without Daredevil. Tombstone has the opportunity to have the same impact that Kingpin did in Daredevil. And I think, as I said, I think that's a genius idea. And I love, I didn't even change the topic, sorry. And I love that they are doing, that with Tombstone, because Tombstone is a really good character. So, as I said, I am really intrigued by what they're going to do. And they cast a really good actor. That guy was in Black Lightning, and he made the funniest jokes, man. Oh, that dude was hilarious in freaking Black Lightning. So, and I didn't even know that's the same guy that voiced Tombstone in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So I think this, as I said, I think this is a genius idea, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to, excuse me, really make all this come about. I really like everything I've been hearing about Spider-Man Brand New Day has been all hits, man. I'm telling you, like I've been so proud of what Destin and Tom Holland and what the team for Spider-Man Brand New Day are doing, because I really do believe, I'm gonna say this clear as day, I do believe they're going to put out the best MCU movie of all, or the best Spider-Man movie of all time. I think Tom Holland is going to prove to us that he's the best Peter Parker and Spider-Man ever. And I think after this movie, there's no contest about who's the best at all. At all. Now, let's get to the next topic here. And guys, and I'm sorry if you feel like I'm zooming, guys. I'm just really sick, so I'm trying to really get through this so you don't hear me cough too much. Now, Paul Anthony Kelly. You guys know this guy. We talked about him last week. This dude has been glazed to the mountains, okay? There's been an inner battle between him and Brandon Sklenar for who's going to be the Batman. And the funny thing is, neither of these guys are probably going to be cast as Batman, okay? Just being real. If we being real, you know what I'm saying? It's probably not happening. So let's talk about now. Let's break all this down. So let's talk about the rumor and the response here. So in this month, okay, in an interview with GQ, Kelly asked, she addressed the whole viral fake ass. She said, and he said this: if that's what they say, then who am I to say no? I mean, that would be a dream come true. Now, why would he say this? Of course he would want to be Batman. Dude, I'm black and I would be freaking Batman. If DC called me saying, yo, you want to be the black Batman? Duh. I mean, and look, being an actor, the employment status is out there where, these people be broke, be serving at restaurants. Dude, you get into a cinematic universe, that's a decade plus of just movies and money. And not to mention, you can make a lot of money. Look at what RDJ and Chris Evans and them make. You know what I mean? Like, they would never make those doing just regular movies. It's the cinematic universes, which is the vibe, which is what the MCU started. So now, this buzz intensified following his breakout performance as John F. Kennedy Jr. in the FX series Love Story, and fans noted that his classic Bruce Wayne look, specifically his jawline and wealthy playboy type of, like energy. And look, while gossip outlets like they talked about that he was being considered for a DC role, there's currently no official casting. And James Gunn himself has stated that Batman casting for the upcoming film The Brave and the Bold only happen once the script is done. Okay, and as what it seems, we don't know who's writing the script. We don't know what's happening, so we'll have to see what happens there too. But he's a 37-year-old actor. He is older, so I think that would rule him out. To be honest, I think he's too old. But who am I to say that, right? Who am I to say that? So yeah. So all in all, I think that Paul Anthony Kelly, I don't see him as Batman. I really don't. But if he was casted, I wouldn't be mad, if that makes sense. Like, I think he's a good enough actor, because being an actor, like, obviously, if I'm looking at you and you're not acting, I'm not going to think that you're a part of the role to some extent. But then when you transform into the role, I could say, oh, never mind, I was wrong, I'm not sold on Brandon Sklenar, but it's the same thing. Like, I don't care. Here's the funny thing, guys. I don't care who gets cast as Batman. I used to be scared of casting until I saw James Gunn cast David Cornsweet. When he casted David Cornsweet, he took all my casting stress away. David Cornsweet is one of the best castings ever, and I think that's going to be talked about in the future. And here's another tidbit that I want to tell you. I think that the movie that James Gunn doesn't direct for Superman will be the best Superman movie to date. As much as I do believe Man of Tomorrow is the best Superman movie, I think there's someone out there that could possibly direct Superman better. But they won't be able to do it better unless James Gunn lays this groundwork that he has to lay for Superman. Because I do think James Gunn is taking Superman to another level as a character. And I didn't realize that until I read a lot of Superman comics. And I've read all of the mainline Superman comics now. I've read all of New 52 Superman, and I'm reading about like 4 different Superman stories right now. Like I know I'm reading Superman Unlimited, obviously DCKO, he's in that. I'm reading Absolute Superman, and then I'm reading Superman House of L, and I just see this pattern in Superman, and it's showing me where it's showing me where kind of like the path is going. Hello, I have a question for you. It's not about this, if you don't mind. Hey man, feel free to ask any question. I will answer it. Um, as long as it's G rated and cool, obviously. But yeah, so the same way James Gunn is laying that groundwork for Superman, we need someone to lay the ground. Like, actually, we don't need someone to lay the groundwork for Batman because the groundwork's been laid. The question is, what are you going to do? Like the question is, regardless of who's casted, Batman has to ascend. Batman has to ascend. Uh, if you're a Star Wars fan, do you think Keanu Reeves will play a great Darth Revan? It's funny. We actually have a Keanu Reeves topic coming soon about him playing Batman. If I'm a Star Wars fan, I think Keanu Reeves will play a great Darth Revan. Okay, so let me tell you my thing about Keanu. I think Keanu is a terrible actor. Has Keanu Reeves in the beginning of his career had some really good stuff, like Constantine, good, all that stuff, but in the later times of Keanu Reeves, including Matrix, and I don't blame him entirely, but I don't think Keanu Reeves' acting is that good. And with Revan, dialogue matters, man. Dialogue does matter with Revan. And the question that I'll have to ask you is, do you think Keanu would be able to address and give the dialogue that Darth Revan always has in order for him? Like, would it have an effect? Now, would Keanu do great action wise? Of course. Would Keanu be, would Keanu be able to own the mannerisms of Revan? I think so. But when it comes to dialogue and such, but then again, would the dialogue matter because his voice might be coded? I don't know. Do you know who I think would be a great Darth Revan? I think Christian Bale would be a great Darth Revan. I think it'll be amazing, but it'll probably be impossible to cast him. But I don't know. Some things that is another thing too. Mans is old. Mons is old, man. Mons is old. You're right. We don't need an older guy. We don't. Definitely in Star Wars. Star Wars needs young blood, and I think Ryan Gosling is a perfect guy to bring in for some young blood. Even though he's kind of older too, but I don't think that Christian Bale should be a star. What? Nah, you gotta bring back the guy that played in the games. I forget his name. You gotta bring it back. What is his name? Let me just check who voiced Starkiller. Let me get his exact name because I have to show him love. Sam Witwer, yes. Is Sam Witwer actually voices Darth Maul too? His Darth Maul is amazing. So I think Sam should play Starkiller because it's based off of his face, right? Also, he voiced the son, and that if you guys remember that Clone Wars episode when we saw the father, the son, and the daughter, the embodiments of the light, dark, and the balance. Sam actually voiced the son as well. So pretty cool Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much. It's a shame that they've done what they've done. But yeah, Keanu's old, man. I don't see him as Revan, nor would I want him. I think Keanu is so overrated, and that might be my personal opinion, me being petty. I don't know, but I'm just that's just where I stand with it. So yeah, all right. Now I wanted to address this quickly about Mr. Wonder Man. So let's talk about the viewership here. And I pulled this up not to crap on the show, but I wanted to give you guys a really full point. So Wonder Man, you're going to hear this, garnered 549.6 million minutes of watch time in his first 10 days of streaming. Now, that might sound like a lot to you, but check this out. Did you guys know that Echo had more streaming minutes than Wonder Man in his first 10 days? And Echo is a show that fans universally hate. Wonder Man, everyone that watched it, even though some didn't like it, so and for example, like me, like I have this thing in my mind where I cannot like a project, but I can say that it's bad. You know what I mean? I have that type of vibe where I can do that. So I tend to, lean that way with a lot of projects. And that's where I was. It's not a bad show, just not my vibe. It's not Marvel to me. It's not the MCU. It's about Hollywood. I don't care about Hollywood. And so that's shocking, man. That it's not shocking. And let me tell you why. At the end of the day, and this is what a lot of people don't understand about why the Thunderbolts did bad and why the Fantastic Four didn't do what everybody thought it was going to do. Here's the reality. It's not enough to have just a good movie. I'm cooking right now. It's not just enough to have a good movie these days. And a lot of people don't understand that. A good movie is not enough, but you need to hit your chops and it will work. Wonder Man should have been a straight action movie or straight action show. There should have been a lot of fighting, a lot of lore, a lot of deep diving into his powers, connecting him to something greater than what's on Earth and making it about that. But instead, you give us this Hollywood freaking show. And look, you can say it's good, that's fine. But the reality is, it's never enough. And so that's the best way to talk about it. Like, but when I watch Hawkeye, bro, Hawkeye was freaking. I love Hawkeye so much. And Hawkeye introduced characters like Kingpin. We had Yelena Belova Papa. We got Kate Bishop. We had Swordsman. A small scale show, but it meant something. And this is the thing about Wonder Man: small scale show that didn't mean anything. And that's the problem with a show like Wonder Man. The MCU is so vast at this point that every project has to count, and if it doesn't, it's mid. I heard that Abeloth might be coming to Ahsoka season 2, and Natalie Portman might be returning as Padme, and Abeloth would take. I heard that too. I've heard that rumor as well. That would be nuts if it's Natalie Portman taking the body of Abeloth. But here's the question, though, Paula: is what the frick is Anakin? That's the question. What is Anakin? You know, and that's the question. And like the thing that Dave Filoni did, and I hate when directors leave things to interpretation. I really do, because I want to know the answers. And the question with Anakin is like, what is going on with Annie? You know, because I just don't know. It's like, is Anakin per se? Is Anakin the father now? Right? Why is he in the world between worlds? Can he travel as a spirit anywhere he wants? Like, these are questions, you know. That, you know, I answered that the question that I need answers to. Is Anakin the father? Can he just travel wherever he wants because he's the chosen one? Is he the god of the force? Is he the balance of the force? What is going to happen when, you know, Balin gets a hold of the spirit world now? Like, what's going to freaking happen? And Ahsoka is going to be like Star Wars religion, bro. Ahsoka is going to be one of the greatest shows, one of the greatest seasons in Star Wars TV history. And the sad part is that nobody gives a crap about it. Ahsoka season 1 was so beautiful. It was like Star Wars Negro spiritual, bro. It was, man. Ahsoka was beautiful, bro. It was, oh my goodness, that show was beautiful. And so much lore was rich in it. And people just, you know, but then you want to get all hype about Andor, which also didn't perform well. It's like we get rich lore, but then we want to get hype about freaking Andor. Whatever. People was going to be negative towards Wonder Man, no matter who plays the role. Hope we see more of Yahya Abdul. Yes, I do too. I want him to get with Wanda Maximoff so Vision can crash out, you know? So I need Yahya with my queen, Wanda. Anakin in the world between. Yes, bro. It makes you think. Certain people will see on Disney Plus that the concern with the X-Men reboot film moving forward, folks will reject it like the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. See, here's the thing with this, though, with the X-Men, bro, is that the fans will reject the X-Men if they do not make it a crazy movie. Here's the thing about Thunderbolts, and as much as I love these movies, and I rewatched them often, both of them, here's the truth about the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. They played it too safe. When it comes to and I even feel the same about Superman. When it comes to a superhero movie, you cannot play it safe. You got to go for it. Like, the Fantastic Four's final battle is terrible. Why is it just Galactus by himself in an empty New York City with a trap that he could freaking see across the city? Like that's stupid. You know what I mean? Instead of making New York a crazy situation where Galactus has hundreds of thousands of henchmen that are raiding New York City, and we get to see all of the Fantastic Four put their powers on full display. Instead, we just get the scene that we got. But that's the kind of thinking that they're not having, you know? And hopefully the Russos light a fire in their back to do that. But with the Russos overlooking the X-Men, hopefully that could, you know, make that happen. People will go see Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Ryan Coogler, Black Panther 3 at the movie theaters. Yes, and if Black Panther does what they say they're going to do, which is, if the rumor is true and Black Panther is going intergalactic, brother, it changes everything. It changes everything about everything that we know about the MCU is going to change if they go intergalactic. There's actually a comic book out. I'm pretty sure the next issue drops tomorrow, actually, for New Comic Book Day. But I've been reading this comic called Black Panther Intergalactic, and it's one of the best comics I've ever read in my life. No cap. It's freaking beautiful. It's freaking beautiful. Okay, now for my Star Wars fans, let's talk about my baby Bo-Katan. Okay, so Katie Sackhoff. Okay, so she promises that she will return as Bo-Katan in Star Wars. She said she's not dead. She ain't going anywhere. She can't because she's based off Dave Filoni's wife. So I have job security forever. Funny joke. So funny, Bo. So funny, Katie. So let me talk about this. Number one, I love Bo-Katan. Okay, when I first saw Bo-Katan in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I fell in love. I'm not gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. She was one of my first crushes. Okay, it was not Ahsoka. Even though my dog is named, I love Ahsoka, but she was not my crush. Couldn't get past the hair, skin stuff. It was kind of weird to me. But when I first saw Bo-Katan, I said, "My queen, I love you so much." You know, the same way that when I first saw Wanda Maximoff, I was like, "My queen, I bow down to you," right? And so the thing about Bo is this, okay? They ruined Bo and Mando season 3, whatever. There's no way that Bo-Katan should have gotten the Darksaber back and that she should have went to rule Mandalore. One of the worst things that they have done to Bo-Katan's story is make her whole entire sole purpose to be to unite Mandalore. Okay, so here's the thing. She was the ruler, and she got cooked by Moff Gideon and lost the saber. Why didn't they just send her story somewhere else? But instead, she has the same arc over and over, trying to get the Darksaber, trying to reunite Mandalore, even though nobody wants to reunite under her, mostly because she takes off her friggin' mask. It doesn't make sense. When I felt, and someone tell me if I'm wrong, I feel that the Mandalorian show was always prepping Din Djarin to be the new ruler of Mandalore, mostly because he's not a Mandalorian. He's not a Mandalorian by birth, but he lives by the ancient way. He never takes off his mask. And so I've always thought that, and I even thought for a moment that Din Djarin was going to be the first like Mando Jedi that we were going to see in decades, or maybe in centuries, because the first Mando Jedi was Tar Vizsla, and I'm pretty sure Bo-Katan comes from the lineage of Tar Vizsla, the first Mando Jedi. But it would have been fire if Din Djarin was a Force-sensitive Mandalorian. He would have been unstoppable, and then you can evolve Din Djarin in bigger stuff because now he's a Jedi. Instead, and then when that didn't happen, my thought was, okay, so this is why they put Grogu with Luke Skywalker, right? This was my thought initially, because they're going to make Grogu a part of the bigger situation going into the next trilogy. They didn't do that. Mando goes back to get Grogu. And this is my problem with they make stupid decisions. They make stupid decisions when it comes to handling really good characters. And so I'm not a big fan of how they handled Bo. I'm not a big fan of how they handled Din Djarin, and I'm not a big fan of how they handle Grogu. Why does Grogu still look like a freaking non-communicating animal in the Mando and Grogu trailer? He should be talking. He should be fighting. He should have way more sensibility. So, I've not been a fan of the progression. And here's the question. Is that marketing stuff? Is it you want to make more money? I don't know. But I'm not the big fan. So how does Star Wars fix Bo-Katan? You make her journey and message different. Give her something that means more than ruling Mandalore. Make her a part of some guild or something that has more meaning to Bo-Katan, the character. I am sick of rehashing this. I need the Darksaber to reunite Mandalore thing. It's annoying. Let's see. Yeah, if Anakin can travel, why didn't he travel to Exegol to help Rey and his grandson Ben to stop Palpatine? Another reputable question. Now, the answer could be, and I hate to strongman this, the answer could be whatever Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka does in this Ahsoka season 2. Maybe it strains it. But then again, bro, hear this. Anakin's able to talk to Rey in the end. In The Rise of Skywalker, So what's really going on? And it's also insane, bro, that they didn't involve any of this in the sequel trilogy. So the sequels, man, it's crazy because, excuse me, my anger isn't even about the bad writing of Rey, the Mary Sue stuff that people cry about. That's not even my issue with Rey. Here's the thing about Star Wars. Star Wars has some of the richest lore ever. You read Legends, you look at the World Between Worlds, you watch Star Wars Rebels. If you watch the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, right, it opens your mind to what Star Wars is. And it makes you view Star Wars in a whole entirely different way. And it's sad that when you look at what they've done, they just ignored all of the spiritual stuff. You have the most powerful Jedi ever in Rey, and she doesn't commune with Anakin. She doesn't commune with any of the old Jedi before her. That's what drives me nuts. And that's okay. I have a crush on Ezra Bridger, like you when I first saw him. Dude, when I first saw Bo-Katan, bro, I was like, yo, this is my girlfriend. And mind you, this was an animation, bro. Because I think when I first saw Bo-Katan, I was probably like 11, 12. And I was like, yo, I'm in love with this chick. And then my other friend, Nairi, I think he was in love with Obi-Wan's girl. I think she got killed, though, I think. Which was Bo-Katan's sister, I think. I think she got murdered, though. But yeah, man, so Star Wars, man, richest lore, but fumbled all in all. Okay, last time of the night, and this is for funsies, okay? Now, somebody posted this on X. I wanted to talk about it, and they said, do you think Keanu Reeves could have been a great Batman? This is a wild topic. And I think it's stupid, but let's engage. Keanu Reeves, terrible actor, not good actor. And some of y'all, and I posted this, and some of y'all were glazing earlier. Yeah, but he was a good Constantine. Yes, he was. Constantine was good. He had some good projects. But if we look at his latest stuff, bro is not putting it down, okay? When it comes to John Wick, we don't count that because all he does is say, yeah, and fights people. That's not, that come on, man. That's action, you know? When it comes to action as Batman, a young Keanu would probably land it. If we were talking anything else, he wouldn't. Batman is one of the most complex characters to act. Number one, because of the fact that when you think about Batman, you have to play the duality well. And a lot of people can't land duality. Let me give you an example. Toby couldn't land it. Toby was a great Peter Parker, terrible Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield couldn't land the duality. He was a terrible Peter Parker, but a great Spider-Man. Tom Holland, though, he lands the duality of both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And I don't even think he's the best actor out of those three, but he just lands it well. You know, when I look at someone like a David Cornsweet, David Cornsweet lands the duality of Superman. Henry Cavill, good Superman, bad Clark Kent. You know, Christopher Reeves, really good Clark Kent, okay Superman. You know, and even when you look at Batman, you know, like Batman also doesn't have Batman isn't when we look at the Batman, Christian Bale, amazing Bruce Wayne, right? Amazing Bruce Wayne, but he was a terrible Batman. I think Christian Bale is probably the worst Batman to grace the screen ever, if I'm just being honest with you. Robert Pattinson, that dude's just straight Batman. Now, with Robert Pattinson, I will give him the benefit of the doubt because of the fact that that's what he was wanted to do. Like he's supposed to be obsessed with the mask, similar to what we're going to see from Holland Spider-Man in. You know, when you look at Val Kilmer, which is my favorite Batman of all time, I think he was probably the best Batman that we've had. I think Val Kilmer was a perfect Bruce Wayne. Probably the most perfect. He's probably a more perfect Bruce Wayne than Christian Bale. Batman wasn't that good. Michael Keaton, perfect Batman. Terrible Bruce Wayne. He didn't even look suave enough. He looked like a brute. You know, Adam West, loser. We're not going to talk about Adam West. He was stupid. So, you know, would Keanu Reeves be able to land the duality of Batman? No. Keanu Reeves would not be able to land the duality of Batman. Dallas, do you think Keanu Reeves would be a good Batman?
I'm pretty sure you already covered this, but can we just preface this by saying like Keanu Reeves is a very bad actor. Like he's a very bad actor. He's never been a good actor. Like the only role that he really fully like captures is John Wick. But you don't have to do much when you're John Wick. You just run around and like shoot things. And like you do that stupid little run that he does, like he's half limping and like half dragging his soul around. And
which he stole from Tom Cruise, but okay.
Like other than that, like there's no duality to there's no character, there's no like depth to his characters, John Wick. And then his role as Constantine was absolutely garbage. Most people don't even know there was a Constantine movie. The Matrix, he was fine, but I don't even think his acting in the Matrix was that good. He was just carried by the concept and the surrounding cast. So, and if you saw his most recent movie, he did a terrible job in that. Like Keanu Reeves is not a good actor, so there's no way in any universe that he could be a good Batman. I don't even think he could be like. There's no way in any universe that he would be a good Bruce Wayne, but he definitely 100% could not be a good Batman. I mean, well, no, I'm sorry. Let me retract that. There's no way he's going to be a Bruce Wayne, but I don't even think he could be a good Batman. Like, I don't even think he could. Maybe the fighting would be good. I don't know. I just don't see it. And he doesn't even look like anything Batman would even look like. He looks like a loser with his hair short, and Batman wouldn't have his hair that long. Either way, he looks kind of like chuddish, you know.
Yeah, he would never fit. He would never fit his Batman. I'd rather see myself don the cowl than him. Um,
Well, let's not say all that. I mean,
I'll look better. Let's see. Let's see this. Oh, and that's okay. We read that. Do you want to see that Batman with Joaquin Phoenix? No, I hate Joaquin Phoenix. That's Joker. Terrible movie. How about Keanu Reeves as Slade, aka Deathstroke? That would be kind of cool. But he's too old. He's too old. He's too old to play it. But a young Keanu, I wouldn't mind. Now, the best Slade, though, we got to be honest, the best Slade ever is the one in Arrow, and no one can tell me anything else. He's goated. If your friend there is a star, if your friend is a Star Wars fan, does he think Keanu Reeves would play a great Darth Revan from the Knights of the Old Republic?
no, because I don't think he's a good actor. I can't stress this enough. Any character with anything besides running, shooting guns, and fighting, Keanu Reeves is going to do a terrible job.
Yep.
Yeah.
If Paramount decides, or if Paramount does acquire WB, don't see too many Hollywood directors want to deal with the Trump administration, try to censor their content. If Netflix acquired WB, okay, let me just break all this down. Okay, Paramount is the worst choice. Has nothing to do with politics. Okay, has nothing to do with politics. What it has everything to do with is, here's the question, Kevin Dallas, answer me this. Do you know what Paramount is doing movie and TV show wise? Just off the top of the dome, no quick search. Do you know what Paramount is putting out right now?
Like a bunch of like kids movies that, barely make it.
But like, do they have motion?
Do they have good advertisement? Heck no.
They have no motion. And the reality is that if you're trying to buy something, right? Look, obviously DC, or not DC, Warner Bros. Will probably go to the highest bidder, but the question is, what are you doing right now? What are you doing to push the narrative forward? Netflix, they might pay less, but they will make WB bigger than what they ever will be, because Netflix is the best streaming company in the planet, is the best streaming company of all time. Their metrics are just goated. Whatever they do over there is just different from what everybody else is doing. And the reality is, if and look, it's up to the shareholders and all that, and they probably want to get their penny out of it. But the reality is that Paramount has no motion, and so it's not a political thing. And people love to make things about politics because people have nothing else to hold on to but politics. Luckily for y'all, I hate both sides, so I can talk how I want. I think that Paramount is a bad company in general. I don't think they've done anything that's made them be in the conversation of having motion. Netflix, though, goated. So that's my soliloquy on that. And I think James Gunn would function better in the DCU with Netflix, because number one, you get more money to play around with, number one. And number two, you get a really good theatrical debut, but then you get to go right to streaming, and if you're on the best streaming platform, you're going to make a lot of money.
Even though I'm still not confident in James Gunn by any stretch of the imagination.
By the way, he debunked everything. I'm not sure if you read the document, but he debunked everything.
I remember you telling me about that. We were sitting down eating somewhere.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I talked about that earlier. Adam West Batman has short hair. Yeah, Adam West terrible. Well, Slade is an old man, but is Prime Slade old though? I don't think Slade in his prime is old. Let me see. How old is Slade is to Prime? Slade, how old in his prime? So yeah, so he's in his late 30s, but he's often portrayed in his 50s. So he probably would be portrayed in his 50s. So you do have a point, but I still don't think Keanu's the guy. Actually, yeah. I mean, I don't know, because Slade does have a lot of dialogue too and stuff. I don't know. But if you do Slade, he has to be a Teen Titans. He has to be a villain of the Titans, and you got to put Nightwing up against him. And apparently there's a Bane and Deathstroke movie that was in development back when James Gunn first announced all the DCU projects, and the rumor was in the live action movie, Nightwing and Robin were going to be the heroes going against them, which would have been fire, bro.
What happened to it? Scrap contract?
Haven't heard anything since. The James Gunn way. Huh?
Yep. Bro debunks everything we want to know and doesn't talk about the stuff that we're actually interested in.
Or you mean he debunks the stuff that we don't care about?
Yeah, he's actually a bum.
Loki. Yeah, bro. I mean, and I said, I'm happy that he's not waiting for the Batman to release the DCU Batman. Like, I love that. I'm not happy about the Paradise Lost stuff staying, but Hollywood is backing up Paramount. They don't want to see Netflix acquire WB. They think they will destroy the movie theaters with WB content. And here's the thing, though. But here's the thing, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but the AMC stock numbers just came out. AMC is cooked right now. With the theaters in general are terrible. And let me tell you why the theaters are terrible. The theaters are terrible because the MCU. Because of the MCU. When Marvel was in their prime, every movie thrived. Almost every film thrived. Aquaman made $1 billion strictly because of the MCU. And that's a fact. If a superhero movie tanked, it just sucked. That's just the facts about it. So, I think that Doomsday is going to possibly be that thing that brings people back. And you got to think about it. We got Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out and Doomsday. It's going to be a big year. But then again, when you have Supergirl and Clayface, what you going to do there, buddy? What you going to do there, And these are the questions that I have. And some of y'all think I'm a DC hater. I'm not. I would be so happy if Supergirl makes 700-800 million. Shut me up, right? I want to be wrong. I want Supergirl to be like an amazing movie, which I think the movie's still going to be good. But man, what a risk! Well, what a risk that they're taking. So we'll just have to see, what happens. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, but yeah, guys, we're on the extra topic. So y'all can drop any questions that y'all have, and we can address and talk about them. But Dallas, so what I wanted to ask you is, I did another video today on TikTok about Narnia, okay? And brother, I think that Narnia might be like cooked, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, we knew that when they picked the director, so.
Oh, I'm excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Do you and Dallas think Peter will get MJ and Ned back in Brand New Day? I don't think so.
To be honest, like I don't really like Ned doesn't really add much to anything. I don't really see the importance of him. And I'm kind of tired of seeing the same old MJ. Like, give me a new love interest or something. Like, for him to be swooning over the same girl from movie after movie, I don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of it. It's like that one. It's like those R&B artists who consistently cry about their girl leaving them and how they want it back. Like, bro, move on. It's time to move on and do something different.
You won't have a new girl,
huh?
So you won't have a new girl,
or no? I don't even care about the girl. Loki, just give me a competent Spider-Man.
Zootopia 2, Avatar, Fire and Ash, Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft movie theaters are dead. Please stop that narrative, brother. An article just came out about AMC making not a lot of money from theaters, bro. Theaters are not making a lot of money. Check the stats. Sorry, like there are more movies flopping or making low amounts of money. And yes, they're trying to get profit, but that's not what it was.
I was about to say, out of that list that you just gave, Zootopia 2 did decently. It didn't break the box office. Lilo and Stitch didn't break the box office. The only one who really broke the box office was Minecraft.
Lilo and Stitch hit $1 billion, bro.
Did it really? Yeah. Oh, I'll correct myself.
Yeah, I think all those movies he named except Minecraft hit $1 billion. But that's
I thought Minecraft did really well out of all of them. Did the best.
No. I'm pretty sure Avatar. It's either Avatar, Fire and Ash or Lilo and Stitch. But all I'm saying is, Kevin, is that you can't base those 6 movies out of the 50 to 60 to 90, whatever, that come out a year. That I mean, The Rock and Emily Blunt did a movie together. Two of the biggest stars in Hollywood that didn't turn a profit.
I was gonna say a lot, and you think for example, I watched a lot of horror movies. A lot of the horror movies, after going to the theaters to see them, nobody was there. A lot of the horror movies were dead. A lot of them didn't turn a profit at all.
More people care about. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was just because especially since this year a lot of indie films dropped. You're already catering to a select audience, and so I just don't think that there wasn't anything mainstream that really dropped except for these and a few others. Wuthering Heights was supposedly supposed to be mainstream, but I think they directed it like an indie film, so it's I don't know, it's kind of hard to judge.
I mean, even think about Sinners. The movie is overly glazed, but the box office isn't nothing to marvel at. It's not like
Yeah.
like I don't even think it made over $500 million.
Yeah,
Like, and I get it's a good movie, but we're talking about money. We're talking about finances.
and Marty
You know?
Supreme didn't break the box office.
No, it didn't. All these movies that they glazed didn't make a lot of money.
They were just good movies, you know.
Yeah. And that's all I'm saying is that, like, and this is what I keep telling y'all. I said this is my theme for tonight. Having a good movie isn't enough nowadays. You got to do more. What that more is, I don't know. I think it's either you have the motion or you don't. You know, that's kind of how I feel at this point. Prime example, Superman Man of Tomorrow is going to make the same amount it made. I promise you it's going to make the same amount it made as the first one. Batman Brave the Bold, instant billion. Instant billion. Green Lantern the movie, instant 800 million. Maybe, who knows? But, you know, I think there's certain projects you know they're going to make money, and there's other ones where you're like, who knows? And even with Superman was the most talked about movie for a while.
Unfortunately,
The marketing they did for Superman was superb. Only made what, 600 something mil? Come on, man. That for me, that's not enough. For me, that's not enough. So, all right, y'all, we're gonna end the show tonight, man. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Hope you guys have a good night.
I thought we were talking about Narnia.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm sorry, bro. I have a little cold, so I kind of forgot. Okay, let's talk about. Tell me how you feel about Greta Gerwig's Narnia. Because I have some information that I want to share with you.
It's gonna be so bad. First of all, her saying that's gonna be like a rock awakening. Like, what do you mean by that? It's Chronicles of Narnia. What does that have to do with anything? Also, her future, like her history of films, is that she takes a concept and she like changes it to fit her own like idea of it. And normally it's like some feminist cry for help. But and like, what are you gonna do like with Narnia? Like, I can predict what's gonna happen. Right? Here's my prediction. Greta Gerwig is gonna focus on Susan, the skeptic. She's gonna focus on Susan. That's gonna be the main.
You're actually wrong.
Am I really? Interesting. Let me know.
Wait. I'm sorry. I was thinking of her sister. You are right. It is Susan. Hey, go ahead.
I'm him. I'm literally that guy. I'm never wrong. Anyway, it's going to focus on Susan because Susan was the skeptic. Susan was the one who didn't come back. Susan was the one who, like, the story kind of left behind and forgot. And she's the one who, she fits Greta Gerwig. And so, like, I believe that, like, and, like, we already know because we've read the books, we've watched the old movies, that the movie's going to, like, the movies revolve pretty much around Lucy and Aslan. And Edmund a little bit, right? But that's not what Greta Gerwig is going to do because she's going to take the most, like, and I hate to say it this way, feminist core of the movie, completely shift it, change it, and blow it up until that's all the movie's about.
All right. Let me read you this. Don't crash out. Rumor 1. The Susan problem is being addressed early. Fans of the books know that Susan is eventually excluded from Narnia for becoming too interested in lipsticks and nylons. Rumor has it Gerwig is baking the problem of Susan into the very first film to make the story more feminist eccentric from day one. Rumor 2. Aslan as an abstract force. There are whispers that Aslan might not be the cuddly but dangerous lion of the 2005 film. Some suggest he is being framed as more of a cosmic phenomenon, less a character that you can talk to, and more of a terrifying force of nature. Rumor 3. The White Witch is a tragic victim. In the books, Jadis is pure, unadulterated evil. The rumor is that Gerwig's script gives her a humanizing backstory. Think of Wicked or Maleficent. She isn't just a witch. She's a survivor of a dead world who views Aslan as a tyrant. How do you feel about those rumors?
I know it. I feel vindicated because, like, I knew it. Because, like,
sorry,
go on. What were you saying?
I just want to add to this before you go. And this is something that I found when I was making a script about this a few weeks ago. And this is an exact quote. It says this: Greta Gerwig's filmography is built on autonomy. Her characters usually find power within themselves, not from a higher divine lion. The conflict between Lewis and sorry, so there is a conflict between Lewis's absolute truth and Gerwig's personal truth, and this is the biggest creative gamble in Netflix history. And here's another quote: C.S. Lewis didn't just write fantasy; he wrote supposals. What if Christ became a lion in a world of talking animals? Narnia is built on deep magic, divine authority, and sacrifice and redemption.
Yeah, like why? I don't understand. So here's my thing. Directors, screenwriters, people like that got to stop doing this thing where it's like, instead of coming up with your own story, coming up with your own thing, creating something new, you're going to take somebody else's art, morph it, shift it, play with it like clay, and make it into your own thing. That is disrespectful. Like, C.S. Lewis already came up with a story. Either do his story or don't do anything at all. But don't just change it to be what you want it to be. If you're going to do all that, just make your own story. And like, you're genuinely taking somebody's art and just pissing on it. Like, who gave you the right to do that?
I agree. And this is why I can't stand Nolan as directing Batman. This is why I have these issues, Zack Snyder, because they're, in other words, lore killers. That's why I call them lore killers. I think Mysterio faked his death to frame Spider-Man. Remember, he said he was a master of illusion. I think he reprogrammed the glasses to say all the illusions are down. Oh, they should make a Ghostbusters multiverse movie. I'm not really into Ghostbusters like that, to be honest. But yeah, man, I think Narnia is cooked. I mean, there's no other way around that. Yeah, Game of Thrones is like my only hope right now. That and Invincible.
Oh, Invincibles, they can't ruin Invincible. Well, they can, but I refuse to believe that they will.
Well, the fact that the creators working on it is kind of hard to fail. You know, Robert Kirkman does all the work, so it's impossible at this point. So, but all right, guys, we're going to end the show here, man. Hope you guys have a good night. We are going to go live on Thursday, and we'll talk some more. You guys have a good night. Please, if you are new, Paula, please subscribe. If you guys haven't subscribed to this channel, please, so you know when we post clips will be going out ASAP. Have a great day, and peace out.
Peace out.